Welcome to our fourth DCU Miniatures game battle report. In this game, we pit the Justice League Dark against Lex Luthor, his Lexcorp troopers, and assorted vile henchmen to support him in his evil plans. Let's get started by reviewing the Justice League Dark forces. Here we have our 60-point force of Justice League Dark. It doesn't have all of the Justice League Dark characters from Night models. I don't have, for instance, Zatanna or Constantine painted. I do want to get those guys painted. I don't think I actually have Constantine, but these are the Justice League Dark forces that I have, and I added a couple of other characters in there just to kind of round out the points. Leading this force is Jason Blood, or Etrigan, the demon Etrigan, and he's at 14 points. He's really great at magical attacks and kind of both ranged and physical attacks. He's actually really solid at 14 points. Swamp Thing, 16 points. He is really a tanky model. I don't know about his damage output. These are the first time I'm playing most of these characters, so I'm actually really curious how they do. But Swamp Thing can take tons of damage and regenerates. Black Orchid, really strong, fantastic model for the points. Deadman, little interesting to see this guy on the table. You know, on the surface, he looks pretty darn good with his ability to possess. I don't know if he's broken good, but he looks really good. And then moving on from the Justice League Dark specific models, I've got Green Arrow there at 6 points there on the right, kind of in the back, and Jason Todd, Red Hood, there on the far right. He's good. He's a good, cheap 6-point acrobat. He's got lots of shooty kind of ranged attacks. He's got a great once per gamer takedown move that maybe we'll see in action in this battle report, but fantastic model on the table. This is 60 points of Justice League Dark and Friends. Never played any of the Justice League Dark characters. Well, I think I played Orchid once, but I don't think I've played any of the other ones. Super excited and interesting to see how these folks perform on the table. Let's talk about Lex Luthor's forces. Here we have Lex Luthor and his villainous colleagues, starting off, of course, with Lex Luthor, the man himself. I picked Warsuit Lex. I have the other Lex Luthor models in paint or in assembled right now, but he's the only one painted I have, so I wanted to try him with all of his Lexcorp troopers. So he's 11 points in his Lexcorp Warsuit. It's got some additional bells and whistles above and beyond the regular troopers, so he's got, lasers he can shoot, and magic missiles that are kryptonite missiles, and he's got significantly more health and whatnot than the Lexcorp troopers. But he'll be the leader of our band here today. I've got the 3 different Lexcorp troopers, 1, 2, and 3, aptly named. Most of them are kind of shooty. They've got jetpacks, so they can fly around 12 inches each. So they're actually pretty maneuverable. They're actually great positioning pieces, but they're really fragile. At 4 points, they don't have a whole lot of endurance. So curious to see. I'm kind of thinking I'll be a little bit aggressive with them, but I don't know if that's a good idea, but we'll see. We'll get them on the table and see. First time I've played most of these models as well. So Lexcorp Troopers 1, 2, and 3. The third one, I believe, has the Krypton, or the kryptonite dagger kind of on his arm there. And then additionally, with the Lexcorp Troopers, I've got the heavy Lexcorp Troopers, the one with the twin laser cannons on his back. He's actually really solid. For 6 points, he's got the laser blasters. They're at really good range, and he's got endurance, and he's got resistance 1 to some attacks. So I believe it's physical and energy attack, but I have to go back and check the card. But he's actually really durable. In addition to the Lexcorp troops, I've got Lobo. He's on a big base. He's a big dude. He's got the Titan dose that he can smash opponents with. Really solid character there. Tons of endurance. Not very, it's got decent output, but he's got way more endurance than he does damage output, so I'm interested to see how he works. Lobo, of course, he's very expensive. I think he's the most expensive model in this list, in fact. He's close to Superman level of powers, although I'm looking at his card and I don't think that he could hold a candle to Superman, but I think he's definitely some of the beef on the table here. Let's see how he does. And then I've got Killer Frost for some kind of shenanigans and control and whatnot. Want to see how she does. She looks like pretty solid at 7 points, so I'm interested to see how all these models here synergize on the table for the villains. Let's talk about the scenario. Today we'll be playing Scenario 5 out of the main rulebook called Seize the Day. This is really a territory battle, so we divide the table into 4 quadrants. And each quadrant, at the end of each turn, we count up how many levels worth of models for each faction are in that quadrant. If one player has more points worth of models in a quadrant, they claim that quadrant, and they get 1 victory point for it. If one player has more quadrants controlled than the other player, they get an additional victory point per round. The victory points accumulate over each round. So for one turn, if one player gets 3 quadrants and another player gets 1, that's 4 points for the first player because they got 3 quadrants plus the 1 for having the most, and then 1 victory point for the other, and so on and so forth. And we add those cumulatively over the game. By the end of the game, the player who has the most victory points wins. Let's move on to deployment of the forces for both sides and set up the priority for the first battle round. The forces for Lexcorp and his troopers and friends have deployed on this side of the table, and the Justice League has deployed on this side of the table. Remember, Jason Blood deploys before the demon comes out. He has to hit the pail before the demon, he transforms into the demon. Swamp Thing has Infiltrator, so he is infiltrated right there. And Black Orchid also has Infiltrator, so she's infiltrated right there. So they get board position advantage right off the bat. So lots of models for Lexcorp and friends. Lobo's kind of hanging out there by the corner. And we've got Green Arrow there in the corner. He's going to try to get up on a building, see what he can do. For today's 60-point game, we have models for both the Justice League Dark and Lex Luthor and his Lexcorp troopers and friends. So we've got red dice for the prioritization of the turn bag pull for each turn. We've got 6 dice for the red for the Justice League Dark, and we've got 6 dice that are gray for Lexcorp troopers and friends. So normally you pull a dice from the bag each turn, and whichever side gets the color pulled gets to go first. In this case, Lex Luthor has a attribute or skill called Mastermind, which allows him to remove 1 dice from his opponent's pool and add another dice of his own. So this means that the Lexcorp and troopers and friends are going to have a lot better chance of getting first turn priority or first activation priority each turn. So I only have this sort of dice, so in order to kind of make it fair, I'm going to exchange 1 dice for this, or this still red, but just so if I run it, reach in there and feel around for a dice and I feel D8, I don't automatically know which one it is. So given that, the Lexcorp troopers and the and friends are going to have a lot better chance, I'm just going to take these dice now and put them in the activation pool bag. First turn activation priority goes to the villains. Will be back with start of turn 1. The heavy Lexcorp trooper activates, and he's within 5 inches of Lex, so he gets +1 power because of leadership. So he will activate, and he's going to spend 3 to fly right up to here. That leaves him on 5 power, and he is just outside 14 inches range with his laser cannons to shoot Jason Todd, so he will end his activation there. Next, on the Justice League side, Black Orchid will activate. She has 7 power to begin. She will spend 3 power to fly 12 inches up to the top of this building. So she's now on 4 power. She will spend her remaining 4 power to do once per turn force field, which gives the model resistance to physical and energy. So she will be up there very well protected with additional +2 resistance to energy and physical attacks, and that will conclude her turn. Next, on the Lexcorp side, Lexcorp Trooper number 1 will activate. He's within 5 of Lex, so he gets +1 power due to his Lex's leadership ability. He's got 8 power. He's going to spend 3 to fly 12 inches
up to about there. So he'll spend 3 to fly, right there. And he does not have any ranged attacks or anything else he can do, so he will end his activation there. Over to the Justice League side, Green Arrow is going to activate, and he's going to use his once per game ability Hook Arrow, which allows him to displace up to 12 inches immediately. He is going to Hook Arrow up to the top of this building, so he's got a bird's eye view to shoot some of those Lexcorp troopers. That takes Green Arrow down to 5 power. He is just out of range to shoot that Lexcorp trooper, or Lexcorp heavy trooper. His range of his bow takes him right to the midline of the table here, so he doesn't have line of sight to this guy because it's blocked by the fire truck. So no targets for him, so that will end his activation. Next up on the Lexcorp side, I am going to activate Trooper number 3. He has 7 power, but he's within 5 of Lex, so that gives him 8. He's going to spend 3 to fly up to there. And he does not have enough range to target any other model, so that will end his activation. Next up, I will be activating Jason Todd. He is sitting on 7 power. He's going to spend 2 to run 9 inches up to here. That puts him within range of his handguns to shoot the heavy Lexcorp trooper. Jason's going to do a handguns attack that is range 10, so he's in range. It's a green power, which costs him 2, which takes him down to 3. The heavy Lexcorp trooper's defense is 14 on physical. He's actually going to spend 1 to boost his physical defense by 2, so that gives him defense 16, and he's on power 4 now. So Jason will boost that to try to hit him, overload it, excuse me. So that brings him down to 2 power. So it is attack 8 versus defense 16. So I need a 9 or higher on 3 dice in order to hit that Lexcorp trooper. Definitely hits. So Lexcorp trooper has resistance 1 against physical attack, so that does 1 point of damage against the Lexcorp trooper. So successful attack against the heavy Lexcorp trooper did 1 point of damage, still very healthy. I'm going to leave Jason on 2 power in order to bolster some defenses for incoming attack, so that will end his turn. Next up, I will activate Lexcorp trooper number 2. He's within 5 of Lex, so he gets +1 power, so he's on 8 power. He's going to spend 3 to fly to about here, and he has no ranged attacks at this point. So that's about as far as he's going to get. So he is on 5 power, and that is his turn. We're going to go back to the Justice League Dark. For the Justice League, I am going to activate Jason Blood to come up and do some Eldritch Blasts against these Lexcorp troopers. So he's going to spend 1. He's on 11 power. He's going to spend 1 to walk to get a little bit closer. That puts him right about there. Jason Blood is sitting on 10 power. He's going to unleash some Eldritch Blasts against the Lexcorp Trooper 2, which is the Lexcorp Trooper right in the front here. So he is attack 6. It is a magic attack. It is 13 defense for the Lexcorp Trooper's defense. He cannot bolster that, so it's a base 13. So I need 8 or higher on 2 dice. I'm not going to try to boost this first attack, but let's see if I can get 8 or higher on 2 dice for the first shot. Missed. Bummer. Okay, so that's 2 power. He is going to try that again. 8 or higher on 2 dice. Missed again. Oh, no good. All right, I'm going to try to boost this last attack. That will leave him on 6. That will leave him on 3 power. So I'm going to try to hit that with an 8 on 3 dice now. Definitely hit and a crit. So it is stun 1 as well, but since he's a metallic, he does not take any stun, so that is 3 points of damage against that Lexcorp trooper. He is still in his gray zone. If I spend his full stack, I think I'm going to spend his full stack. That's going to take him down to 0 power. And, well, I can't overload that attack again. Okay, I'll spend 2 more power, and I'll try to hit an 8 or higher on 2 dice. I got it. So that's another 2 damage. That puts... that is 5 damage total Yeah, that's 5 damage total, and that puts him in the pale. So he will need to do a knockout check at the end of the turn. Next up on the Lexcorp side, I'm going to activate Bane. He is sitting on 8 power because he's at +2 power when he's in the gray zone. He's also within 5 inches of Lex, and he has less power than Lex, so that gives him 9. So he's sitting on 9 stack. He's going to spend 2 to run 9 inches up the field, and he has no ranged weapons. So that's about as far as he's going to be able to go and be able to do. He can run up to here, and that's his activation. Over to Justice League Dark, I'm going to activate Swamp Thing next. He is sitting on 10 power. He is going to spend 2 to run to about here. And that puts him in range for the Magic Spikes attack. That is a 6-inch range. It's a magical attack, and he is going to attack Lex Luthor with that. Alright, Swamp Thing is going to attack Lex Luthor with his Magic Spikes attack. That costs 3, so that'll put him down to 5. It's a magic attack. Lex's magic defense is 14. So with an attack of 6, that means I need to get a 9 or higher on 2 dice. I think I'm going to overload that to make sure that I hit. So that's going to take him down to 5 power, 4 power. Yep. So 4 power on 3 dice. His attack is 6. The defense is 14. So that means I need a 9 or higher on 3 dice. Ooh, I don't know. Did I get it? Oh, I sure did. But just kind of barely. No crit. So that is 3 points of damage to Lex. He is still well within that gray, but a little bit of damage to Lex. Not bad, Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing has no other attacks or abilities that are within range or make sense at this point, so I am going to end his activation there on 4 power, and we'll return to the Lexcorp team. Okay, next up for Justice League Dark, I'm going to activate Lex Luthor in his war suit. He's on 8 power. He's going to spend 3 to fly, which will put him on 5 power. He will fly up to here, and that puts him into range for a couple of fun things. Lex Luthor is going to do an Energy Blast attack against Jason Blood. That is an 8-inch range. He's just in range. It costs 3 power. It is a energy attack. Jason Blood is resistance 1 to energy, and his energy defense is 14. He has 1 power, so he's going to boost his defense on energy by 2. So his energy defense is 16. Lex Luthor's attack is 7. So I need a 10 or higher on 2 dice. He is going to overload that attack, so that brings him down to 1 power. I need 10 or higher on 3 dice to hit Jason Blood. Definitely hits. So that is a damage of 2. It's explosive 3, but there's nobody else in range. So that does 1 point of damage because, well, actually he doesn't have resistance 1 because he's not the demon yet. So that does 2 points of damage to Jason Blood. Still within the gray area, but now on 0 power. So that is almost all of Lex's stack. He's only got 1 power left, so that's going to conclude his activation. Next up is Deadman, Boston Brand, for the Justice League Dark. He is sitting on 8 power. He's going to spend 3 power to fly. A little less than 13 inches, but we're going to drop him right there. He is invisible, so the Lexcorp troopers can't see him unless he's within 1 inch. So he's going to hang out there and set himself up for some next round, maybe some possessions shenanigans. So that ought to be interesting. All right, that is Justice League, and I believe that's everyone for the Justice League at this point. So I'm just going to activate the rest of the Lex Luthor gang. All right, up next is Killer Frost. She's sitting on 8 power. She's going to spend 2 to run up to about here. And she is not in range of anybody, so she's going to sit tight She's going to try to help control this corner of the board. She's right, she's not quite across the side of the board yet. The other problem is that we've got Orchid up here on top of the building, and the only thing I've got left is Lobo, and I'm wondering, do I go up there and try to contest her, or get upfield and see if I can deal with the Justice League? All right, last up for the Lexcorp side, I'm going to activate Lobo. He has 9 power. He's going to spend 2 to run 8 inches, which is going to put him right there. That puts him within 10 inches of his heavy lasgun attack, which is a 10-inch range. So he is going to use his heavy lasgun, and he's going to shoot Jason Todd. Okay, Lobo is going to shoot his heavy lasgun at Jason Todd. Jason Todd's defense is 17 against energy. The heavy lasgun is an energy attack. It costs 3. So Lobo being on 7, that takes him down to 4. With an attack of 8, he needs a 10 or higher to hit Jason Todd. Jason's got 2 power, so he's going to spend 1 to boost his energy defense. So that gives him a 19 attack. So that means Lobo will need to get a 12 or higher on 2 dice. I don't like those odds, so I'm going to spend 1 to boost it. So that will leave Lobo on 3 energy, or 3 power, excuse me. That means I need to get 12 or higher on 3 dice. Let's see if that heavy lasgun hits. Yeah, definitely hits. So that's enough to hit him. So that is 2 damage, no crit, and does stun 2, but that doesn't really matter because it's kind of the end of the turn. So 2 damage to Jason Todd with that heavy lasgun, and still in the gray, but overall very healthy. And that's it for turn 1. Let's go take a look at what the score looks like and do a quick turn recap, and then we'll move on to turn 2. All right, turn 1 recap. So the victory conditions are for each quarter or quadrant of the table, the team with the most levels of models that controls a quadrant gets 1 victory point. So if you've got most models of your side on this quadrant, you get a victory point, so on, so on, so on. So for end of turn 1, Jason Todd is really the only model in this quadrant. Well, I guess, sorry, these 2 are the only models in this quadrant. So this is clearly Justice League Dark. That one's got Deadman and Green Arrow, really the only ones in that. That one's technically in there as well, but that quadrant is clearly Justice League, so that's 2 victory points. This quadrant is really just Swamp Thing and Bane, and that model, well, I guess that model, not that model. So this one Justice League controls because he is 16 points. Bane, I believe, is a mere 10 levels, so that one goes to the Justice League. This quadrant, however, is completely loaded with Lexcorp troopers, and Killer Frost and Lobo, way overstacked for the Lexcorp team. So that one, even though Orchid is up there, this one's clearly in control by the Lexcorp villains. So it's 1, 2, 3 for Justice League, 1 for the Lexcorp villains. You also get +1 victory point if you control the most zones. So that's 4 points to Justice League, 1 point to the villains. The pretty bad placing on my part on the villain side. We'll need to correct that for the next turn. So right now, the Justice League is ahead. They are way outnumbered in terms of models. So if the Justice League doesn't do something to kind of thin the herd, the Lexcorp team is going to spread out and take control of all 4 quadrants. So that is the recap of turn 1, 4-1. We will come back with dice bag draw for turn 2. Okay, turn priority for turn 2. Let's see who it is. Move them around here, get a good pick. Justice League gets turn priority, start of turn 2. All right, top of turn 2, Justice League has initial activation. I'm going to activate Jason Blood again. He's going to attack this Lexcorp trooper. He's going to use the Eldritch Blast again, which is a 2 multi-attack per turn green power against magic. So his attack is 6. The Lexcorp trooper, who is wounded, by the way, he's already in the pale, and he passed his knockout check. I already checked for that. So he's in the pale. He's got 5 health boxes left. His defense against magic attacks is 13, so that means I need an 8 or higher on 2 dice. So Jason Blood is on 11 power. He's actually going to overload that for 3 power, so that takes him down to 8. So I need 8 or higher on 3 dice to hit that Lexcorp Trooper. Definitely hit. No crit. So that definitely hit. No crit, but he takes 2 damage. And Jason is down to 8 power. I'm going to do that again, but I can't overload it again. So I can do that as many times a turn as I've got power for. So I'm going to spend 2 more power. Takes me down to 6. I've only got 2 dice now to hit 8 or higher. It would be really great to thin out that herd of Lexcorp troopers. 8 or higher. Connect. So that's 2 more damage. He has got 1. He's on his last health box. Immediate knockout check. So that is a stamina of 8. Let's see if that Lexcorp trooper stays up. Just barely. He's fine. So Etrigan has 6 more power. He's going to spend 2 more power to attack. That puts him down to 4. 8 or higher on 2d8. Hits. That Lexcorp trooper is dead. He hasn't even spent his full stack yet. So he's got 4 more power. Let's see if he is in range for another attack. And again, the stun didn't matter because that Lexcorp trooper was metallic, which negates 1 point of stun. So he's definitely in range of Warsuit Lex and that other Lexcorp trooper. So he's going to shoot at the other Lexcorp trooper. His defense is 13 as well. He's going to spend 2 more power, take him down to 2. Let's see if I can hit that Lexcorp trooper. 8. Barely hits. So 2 damage to that Lexcorp trooper, and that is Jason Blood's turn. What a fantastic turn. Moving over to the Lexcorp team, I'm going to activate Killer Frost. She is on 8 power. She's going to spend 1 power to move 5 inches. She's got +1 speed when she's in the gray, so she can move up to here. So that spends 1 power. She's down to 7. She's going to use her once per game power 0 degrees, which is costs 4. It is range 6, and it's a melee attack, but it's energy nature, so energy attack. She is attack 6. Jason Todd's energy defense is 17, so that means she needs a 12 or higher to hit. He's going to spend 1 power to boost his defense to 19, so that puts him at 6 power. He really doesn't want to get hit by that. So if he is defense 19, she is attack 6. That means she needs a 14 or higher on 2 dice, which is going to be pretty tough to do. So she's going to boost that. So she's down to 6 power. Or sorry, that's going to take her down to 2 power. She needs 14 or higher on 3 dice in order to hit Jason Todd with 0 degrees. Let's see if she gets it. Oh, so close yet so far. So that attack completely misses. She's used her once per gamer. She's only on 2 power left. I think she's going to save the rest of her power to do defensive augmentations if she needs to. I'm going to activate Swamp Thing. He is on power 10 right now. He is going to spend 1 to walk over and be right next to Bane. Right there, so he's now on 9 power. And he's going to do a grab and throw on Bane. The idea is to kind of get him to commit to being in this quadrant where Swamp Thing has got more power than he does, and hopefully continue to maintain and dominate that quadrant. Bane is very slow, so if I can maintain his movement and kind of slow him down in terms of board advancement, that is a huge win for the Justice League. So he's going to try to attack by a grab and throw. His attack is 6. Bane's defense, physical defense, is 14. So that's not great for Bane. So he is going to spend 1 power of his current 9 power. He's within 5 inches of Lex Luthor, so he got 9 power. It's going to take him down to 8 power, and that will give him a defense of 16. And Swamp Thing's attack is 6, so that means I need 11 or higher on 2 dice. I'm going to overload that because I want that to connect, so that puts him down at 5 power for Swamp Thing. So I need 11 or higher on 3 dice to grab and throw Bane. Oh, that's so close. Didn't get it. Nope. Yeah, didn't get it. Oof. So, that's unfortunate. But no big deal. We can recover from that. So maybe we just do a regular attack. So, let's try to do magic spikes that costs 3. It's a once per turn. So Bane's defense on magic is 15. Oh, that's surprisingly high for defense on that kind of character. So Swamp Thing's attack is 6. The defense is 15, so that means I need 10 or higher. That's going to cost him 3. I am going to overload that and cost him 4, so that's going to leave me on 1 point of power. So attack 6, defense 15. That means I need 10 or higher on 3 dice in order to hit him with magic spikes. Definitely, wow, that was a great hit, and a critical too. So that was a magic attack that does 3 points of damage, plus 1 for the crit, so that's 4 points of damage to Bane. So Bane's still well within the gray. He's got a lot of hitboxes. You know, would have been great to be able to throw him, but we didn't get it. That's okay. So, all right, next up for the villain's side, I'm going to activate the Lexcorp Heavy Trooper. He is sitting currently on 7 power plus 1 because he is within 5 inches of Lex Luthor, so that's 8 power. He's just going to stand there and he's going to pump laser cannons into Etrigan over here. So he's got 8 power. It's a green power. I can shoot as many times as I want to in a turn. The first one I might overload and then continue shooting, but his attack is 7. Jason Etrigan is defense for energy of 14, so that means I need an 8 or higher on that. So I think Etrigan's going to spend 1 power, leaving him on 1 power. He had 2, is going to go down to 1. So his defense is 16. So that means that the heavy Lexcorp Trooper with an attack of 6 needs a 10, it needs an 11 or higher to beat a defense 16. So 11 or higher on 2 dice. I'm going to spend 1 power to overload that for an additional dice. So I'm going to go down from 8 to 5 dice. So I need 11 or higher on 3 dice to hit with the first laser cannon. Let's see what we get. Definitely hits, and that is a crit. So that is 3 points of damage, plus 1 is 4. Jason Etrigan's resistances don't kick in until he turns into the demon, so that's 4 points of damage. That definitely puts him into the pale, and so that means the demon rule kicks in. At the start of the game, don't deploy the demon model. You deploy Etrigan, that model that's on the table right now. But once the model enters the pale zone, you replace the demon model within 4 inches of the Jason Blood model. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to drop Jason Etrigan there. I'm going to remove that model. Now he is the demon from here on out. He cannot change back into Jason Etrigan. He is now the demon. And whatever powers he has as the demon are in a full effect. I can use any of those powers that are defined only for the demon. So he's in the pale. So a knockout check at the end of the turn. He does now get regenerate, agile, resistance 1 to energy and physical, and wall crawler. He cannot regenerate past the pale, but that's basically now he's turned into the demon. But we still have power on the Lexcorp Trooper. So I still have the physical defense improvement, or the energy defense improvement on Etrigan, so he is still defense 16. The Lexcorp Trooper is going to spend another 2 power, taking him down to 3. Let's see if I can shoot him again. I need 11 or higher now on 2 dice. A little bit harder. Missed, unfortunately, so that's okay. So I'm going to spend 2 more power to see if I can hit one last time, leaving The heavy Lexcorp Trooper on 1 power left, 11 or higher. That's a hit. Okay, so that is, it's not a crit, so it does 3 points of damage. It is an energy weapon, but he now has, since he's the demon, he now has energy resistance 1, so that's 2 points of damage in addition. So, Demon Etrigan, now in the pale, a little bit hurt, but he's probably going to be okay. This is where he shines, so that is going to wrap up the turn for the heavy Lexcorp Trooper. Over to the Justice League. Okay, next up for the Justice League Dark, I am going to activate Red Hood Jason Todd. He is just going to sit tight, and he is going to fire his guns as much as he can at Killer Frost and see if he can put some damage on her. So right now he is at 6 power. Handguns have a range of 10. It's a green power of cost 2. His attack is 8. Killer Frost's physical defense is 16. She's got 2 power, so she's going to definitely boost that to 18, putting her on 1 power remaining. So Jason Todd's attack is 8. Defense of 16 on Killer Frost, so that means he needs a 9 or higher on 2 dice. I think I'm going to overload that first attack, so that's going to put him on 3 power remaining. So he needs 9 or higher on 3 dice to see if he can hit Killer Frost. Definitely got it, no crit, so that is 2 physical damage to Killer Frost. You know, every little bit helps. He's got enough gas in the tank to do that one more time. I can't overload it, so I need 9 or higher on 2 dice to get another hit on her. So 9, just missed it. So nope. So he's on 1 power remaining. He did not hit her twice. Killer Frost took 2 points of damage, still in the gray, so still very healthy. And that is Jason Todd's turn. Over to the Lexcorp team. I'm going to take this Lexcorp Trooper, and he has 8 power because he's within 5 inches of Lex Luthor, who's got leadership 5. So he is going to spend 3 power to fly 12 inches. He's going to fly up here. He's going to start trying to dominate this zone, or at least have enough models in this zone to start dominating it. And he's going to try to take a shot at Green Arrow. All right, Lexcorp Trooper number 3 moved right there. He is within range of his wrist cannons, which is a blue power, which allows him to do once per turn. His attack is 6. Oliver Queen, Green Arrow's energy defense, that's an energy attack. His energy defense is 15. He's not gonna boost his defense, I think. It's a 10 or higher to hit on 2 dice. I think I will overload that. So that leaves him on 2 power to overload that. So I need a 10 or higher on 3 dice to hit Oliver Queen. Let's see if he can do it. He got it with room to spare. No crit. Oh, that was a 4. So that does 2 damage to Oliver Queen. And that is about as much gas as he's got in the tank, so I'm going to hand it over to Justice League. Okay, over to the Justice League side, I am going to activate Green Arrow. He's going to try to do multi-fire against that Lexcorp Trooper. He decided to come over and try to take that table quadrant, and Oliver Queen's going to try to make him pay for it. So, I'm going to use the standard arrow attack. That costs 2, and it's green power. I can do that multiple times a turn. I'm also going to use the green power, which costs 0, called multi-fire, which means if Oliver Queen does not move, he can use the standard arrow attack, which costs -1 cost. So each shot only costs 1 power, and it's -4 range. I measured it. It is exactly 8 inches. So he is in range to do the multi-fire. I'm also going to use serrated ammo, which is a once per game, adds 1 to damage every time I hit. So my standard arrows are going to be cost 1, and they're going to do 2 damage each if I hit. So Oliver Queen's attack is 8. Lexcorp Trooper's defense for physical attacks is 16. He's going to spend 1 of his remaining 2 power to boost that to 18. So it is attack 8 versus defense 18. That means I need 11 or higher to hit him. So Oliver Queen's going to spend 2 power on his first shot, bringing him down to 6. That's going to be an overloaded attack. He's going to need an 11 or higher on 3 dice to hit with his first arrow. Great. Hits. Not an amazing hit, but still hits. So that's 2 damage against Lexcorp Trooper number 3. Still in the gray. All right. So Oliver Queen's got 6 more power. That means 6 more shots. So he's going to go spend 1 more power. I cannot overload that shot again. So I need 11 or higher on 2 dice. Second shot. Hits. Wow. So that's 2 more damage. Third shot, taking him down to power 4. 11 or higher. Oh my god. Hits. Another 2 damage on Lexcorp Trooper number 3. That puts him into the pale. Spend 1 more, down to 3. Another shot. Need 11 to hit. Okay, that one missed. No good there. Spend 1 more power, down to 2. 11 or higher. Hits. Oh my goodness. So that puts Lexcorp Trooper down to the dark blue. That means I need to make an immediate knockout check. 7 or lower. Wow, he is in it to win it. 2 more arrows, 2 more power from Oliver Queen. 11 to hit. That's a miss. 1 more power, 11 to hit. Hits! And that kills Lexcorp Trooper number 3. He is down and out. What an amazing turn. Boy, I tell you what, if Oliver Queen doesn't move and he's in range, he is deadly. All right, back over to Lexcorp. Going to activate Lobo. He's on 9 power. He's going to spend 2 power to run 9 inches. It's just under 9 inches to get into base-to-base with Etrigan. He is going to do some melee attacks. Okay, Lobo is now in base-to-base contact with Etrigan. He is sitting on 7 total power. Etrigan has has 2 power or 1 power remaining. He used 1 power to boost defense on energy last time when the Lexcorp Heavy Trooper shot the lasers at him. So Lobo is going to attempt a heavy chain attack that costs 3, which is a melee attack physical. And he's going to use Death Blow, which is one of his special abilities. It's 1 power. It's a blue power, so once per turn. That costs 1. That is going to make that attack irresistible. Now that Etrigan is a demon, he has resistance of 1 to physical and energy. So that will go bypass his resistances. So it costs 4 to do that attack. He is attack 8. Etrigan is defense 15 on physical. So I think I'm going to spend his last remaining power to bolster his defense up to 17. Lobo's attack is 8, so that means I need 10 or higher to hit. So I think what I'm going to do is actually overload that attack as well, so that's going to leave him on 2 power. That means I need 10 or higher on 3 dice in order to hit with an irresistible 2 damage attack. 10 or higher on 3 dice. Got it. No crit, but definitely hits, so that's 2 damage to Etrigan. Lobo does not have enough energy or enough power, to do any more attacks, so he is going to end his turn there. Justice League turn. I am going to activate Dead Man. He is sitting on 8 power. I'm going to use 1 power, bring him down to 7, to walk 5 inches. He's got phase shift, so he can float right through this fire engine 5 inches, put him there. That puts him within 2 inches of Bane, and I am going to do a possession activation, or a possession power, which means if the target model rolls willpower at a -1 penalty and fails, Dead Man essentially possesses that body. Dead Man gets removed from the table, and then Bane becomes a model that becomes one of Dead Man's crews, on Dead Man's crew's side, and I can activate him just like normal, and then after that activation, he leaves. So Bane's willpower is 7, so that's -1. That means I need to roll 6 or lower on 2d8 to see if he gets possessed. 6 or lower to not get possessed. Oh, he gets possessed. Dead Man is removed from the table. That took 6 power, we're leaving him on 1, but that doesn't matter. because now Deadman is possessed Bane, and now Bane is now a model for the Justice League for this turn after he's activated and done all of his powers. Cannot use red powers as part of that possession, but once he's done his activation, Deadman gets placed within 4 inches where his base will fit, possessing Deadman to do the work for the Justice League. Okay, so Bane is now part of the Justice League for this turn until Deadman leaves, and back over to the villains. He is sitting on 8 power, since he's within 5 inches of Lex Luthor, who's got leader 5. So he is going to move up to Etrigan. That is a little over 6 inches, so he can walk up to Etrigan, spend 2 points. So he's on 6. And he is going to attack. Lexcorp Trooper number 1 is going to do a strike against Etrigan. So his attack is 6. Etrigan's defense is 17. So that means he needs a 12 or higher on 2 dice. It's going to cost him 3 power, so that's going to take him from 6 to 3. 12 or higher on 2 dice is pretty high, so I think I'm going to overload that, meaning I'm only going to get 1 shot to hit him, but a much better chance of hitting him. So he's going to put him on 2 power. I need 12 or higher on 2 dice. Let's see if he can connect. 6. Just missed. Oh, man. Oh, that is so bad. All right. Poor Lexcorp Trooper could not get that attack to connect. So that is his turn, and we're going to move over to the Justice League. I'm going to activate for the Justice League Bane. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but remember, Bane just got taken over by Deadman. He's possessed by Deadman, so I get to treat him like a member of the Justice League for this turn. Once this activation is over, Deadman pops out of the body 4 inches away. So Bane is going to spend 1 power. He's sitting on 8 power. He's going to spend 1 power to walk 4 inches and get right up to base context with Lex Luthor. He is going to do an attack. And so I think I'm going to do a regular attack, and then I'm going to try to throw him that direction, to keep him in this quadrant so that he can't necessarily score points, because Swamp Thing is 16 points. And unless they get more people over there, they're going to have a hard time claiming that quadrant. So Bane is attack 8. Lex Luthor is defense physical. So I'm going to do let's do a Mega Strike, which is basic green attack. So that's going to be, do I want to do that, or do I just want to do the grab and throw? I think I'm just going to do a grab and throw. So let's do that. So Bane is power or attack 8. Lex Luthor is physical defense 15. I'm going to spend 1 power to put him to augment his defenses on physical for 2 points. So that's going to put him at 7 power. So he is now defense 17, attack 8. That means that I need a 10 or higher on 2 dice to grab and throw him. So I am going to overload that. Cost me 4 points, leaving me on 3 power. So I need 12 or higher on 3d8 in order to hit. Let's see if I get it. 12 or higher. Looks like I got it exactly. 12 or higher. So grab and throw. I can throw strength times 2. So that means I can throw Lex Luthor 8 inches and he is knocked down. Correction, I only needed 10 or higher. Still enough to do the grab and throw. So that will throw him 8 inches. I'm going to throw him all the way back here. And he is knocked down. And he takes strength -1 damage, which is, he is strength 4, so he takes 3 points of damage. Oh, he is in the pale, so he'll have to take a knockout check at the end of the round. All right, that was Bane activation. I don't think he's got anything left he can do, unless he's got a ranged attack. He sure can't. So that is the end of Bane's activation in service of the Justice League. Now for Deadman, I put Deadman within 4 inches of Bane's body, or Bane's himself. And I'm going to put him right there. Let's put him right there. I think that's 4 inches away. Let me make sure. Oh yeah, that's like 3 inches away. So that's perfect. That is Bane's activation for the Justice League. All right, Warsuit Lex is down, but he is not out. So I am going to activate him. He is sitting on 7 power. He is knocked down. So I'm going to spend 1 power to stand up. That brings him to 6. And I'm going to spend 3 power to fly over to this zone. Now my thinking is that right now in terms of board state, Justice League probably owns this quadrant. I think the villains own the near quadrant here. I think the villains might own this quadrant over here. This one right here with Jason Todd. And only Oliver Queen is up there on the building to sort of hold this quadrant. So if Lex comes over here, he will outnumber levels for that quadrant. So it might make sense for him to just kind of fly over. We're almost at the end of the turn and try to claim that quadrant. So he's going to spend 3 to fly, taking him down to 3 power, which he can fly 12 inches, which puts him right about there. So he will be, he has more points than Oliver Queen Green Arrow, so he will claim that that square unless something else can happen there. So I think at this point, the only model left to activate is Orchid here on top of this roof. She is not gone yet. So we're going to come back and activate her. Okay, last activation for the round. Black Orchid is going to activate. She is going to, she's sitting on 8 power. She's going to spend 3 power to fly. She's got to get into the game. Being up there is helpful, but the Justice League needs to be able to whittle down these foes. So they're doing a good job, but I'm worried if she doesn't get into the game, she can't just camp here. So she can fly down 12. That puts her right there. Then she's going to try a once per turn power called Rending. That is a 2-inch range physical attack, which causes ensnare too, which doesn't really matter in this turn because we're almost the end of the turn. But if she hits with that, it does 3 damage. So she is going to attack the Lexcorp Heavy Trooper. She is attack 6. The Lexcorp Heavy Trooper is defense 14. So that means she needs a 9 or higher to hit. Lexcorp Heavy Trooper has 1 power remaining. He will spend that to bolster his physical defense. So that means he is defense 16. That means Orchid needs a 11 or higher to hit on 2 dice. So she'll need to overload that to hit that 11. So that's going to cost her 4 points of power. That leaves her on 1 power. So she got 3 dice, trying to hit an 11 on 3 dice to do some damage to that heavy Lexcorp Trooper. Let's see if she can hit 11. Definitely hits 11. That means she does 3 points of damage to the heavy Lexcorp Trooper, and that is her turn. The heavy Lexcorp Trooper has resistance 1 to physical attack, so that brings it down to 2 damage. So he's still well within the gray. He's doing all right, but takes 2 points of damage. And that is turn. Turn 2 is complete. Let's take a look at the board state. This quadrant right here, we have 24 points of villains. Lobo, the Lexcorp Trooper, and Frost, so 24. Etrigan and Jason Todd are 20 points total, so this quadrant goes to the villains. This quadrant, 10 plus 6, that's 16. Orchid plus Deadman is 18, so 18 to 16. This quadrant goes to the Justice League. That quadrant, only Swamp Thing is in that quadrant, 16 points to nothing. So that quadrant is Justice League. So 1 villain, 1 Justice League, 2 Justice League. This one, Oliver Queen, is 6 points. Warsuit Lex is, I want to say he's like 12 points, 11 points. So 11 to 4, 11 to 6, that goes to the villains. So 2 points for the villains this side of the table, and 2 points for the Justice League that side of the table. So 2 victory points each side for that turn. No side has more victory points, so we're going to add 2 points to each side. So that means Justice League is at 6, villains are at 3. We're going to go into the top of turn 3, coming right up. Okay, so some turn 2 cleanup type activities. Etrigan is in the Pales, and he has regenerate 2 when he is the demon. So I've regenerated 2 health bars, but he still is in the Pale. So I need to do a stamina check on him. I need 12 or lower to stay standing. Barely got it, so I rolled a 12 there. Also, Lex Luthor in the war suit, he is in the Pale as well, so we're going to need him to take a stamina check. Roll an 8 or less on his stamina. Looks like he got it. So 5, 6, 7, he is still standing. Alright, it is time to choose turn priority for top of turn 3. Lex Luthor has the ability called Perfect Plan, which allows him, I really need the villains to take turn priority this turn. So allows me to reach into the dice bag and pull a dice that I choose. I want the villains to go first. So villains have turn priority, top of turn 3. Alright, top of turn 3, the Lexcorp villain side took Perfect Plan to take the priority for this turn. So Lexcorp is, I'm going to start with Lex Luthor. He's actually in the Pale, so he's down to 7 power to start the turn with. So he's got a little less gas in the tank than he normally does. But Oliver Queen is sitting up here with impunity. I think I'm going to introduce him to the ground floor. So Lex Luthor is going to spend 3 power to fly up to the top of that building. That will put him on 4 power. Right there. Hopefully those helicopter blades are not whirring. So at attack 6, Oliver Queen's defense 18. That means I need a 13 or higher on 3 dice with an overloaded attack to grab and throw Oliver Queen. Let's see if we get it. So 8 plus 6, that is enough. So that is a 11, 12, 13, 14. That is enough to grab and throw him. So Lex Luthor's strength is 3. I can throw him 6 inches. I'm going to throw him this way, which means Oliver Queen will also take fall damage. So he's thrown, he is knocked down, and he will take some damage. So Oliver Queen fell 6 inches, which equates to 2 points of damage and knocked down. So Oliver Queen takes 2 damage, is knocked down, and that is Lex Luthor's activation. Next up for Justice League Dark, I'm going to activate Etrigan, and he is at 10 power. So he is going to spend 1 power to walk right here. And I've got a good reason for that, folks. He is going to use the Hellfire Blast attack. So that takes him down to 9 power for the walk. So then I can use this little thingamajigger to hit all of the enemies under the template. So that's basically Lobo, the heavy Lexcorp trooper, and Bane. So I don't need to roll a hit for that. It does cost 3 power, so that's going to take him down to 6. Each one of those models now needs to make an agility check to see if they take full damage or half damage. It is damage 2, so Lobo's agility is 9, so I need to roll 9 or lower for him to avoid full damage. So he avoids full damage. He only takes 1 point of damage. So 1 point of damage on Lobo. I need to roll Bane's agility is 7, so 7 or lower to avoid full damage. He avoids full damage, but he does take 1 point of damage. And then the heavy Lexcorp trooper, his agility is 6. So he needs to roll 6 or lower to avoid full damage. He does not avoid full damage, so he takes 2 points of damage. But he's got resistance 1 to physical. That is, just make sure that is a magic attack. So yeah, nothing doing there. He is still in the gray by 1 point. All right, so that is Etrigan's breath weapon attack. Oh, you know what? I probably should have done. It's not fire, so it wouldn't have actually done extra Killer Frost, so I guess that was a good enough move. So next up, he is going to do an Eldritch Blast against Lobo. He is attack 6. Lobo is defense. Eldritch Blast is a magical attack, cost 2 green power. It is attack 6. Lobo is magic defense 16, so that means I need 11 or higher on 2 dice. I cannot bolster Lobo's magical defense, so it is 11 or higher no matter what. I am going to overload that to see if I can make sure that I connect, so that's going to take me down to 3 power, so I need 11 or higher on 3d6 to hit Lobo. That is definitely not going to do it. That's unfortunate. So do I want to do another one of those, but it's not overloaded? I think I want to keep him with some defensive improvement points. So I think that's gonna be, well, I can do one more attack. I'm gonna, yay, no risk it, no biscuit. So I'm gonna do one more attack. I need 11 or higher on 2 dice against Lobo. Ah, no dice. All right. So 2 attacks, nothing hit Lobo, did a little bit of damage to some of those guys, but that is Etrigan's turn. All right, over to the Lexcorp and villain friends. I'm going to go over to activate Lobo. He is sitting on 9 power. He is at attack 8. He is going to do his once per game finisher hook. Costs 5 base cost, does 4 damage. It's a physical attack, and range is 4. He's going to do that against Etrigan. He's also going to spend 0 points to do overwhelming ire. If I damage my opponent, I can move my model up to 1 inch. I'm also going to use Death Blow once per attack, or once per turn. I can add Irresistible to kind of get through Etrigan's resistances. So let's do the math on that. Finisher hook costs 5. It's going to take me down to 4 power. I'm going to overload that. That's going to take me down to 3 power. And I'm going to add Death Blow, which removes the resistances. That's going to take me down to 2 power. So overload to hit with finisher hook. I'm at attack 8. Jason Blood, the demon Etrigan, is defense on physical is 15. I'm going to spend my last point of power to bolster my physical defenses. Now I'm at 17, so that means I need a 10 or higher on 3 dice for Lobo to hit with that finisher hook. Remove resistances. Will do 4 points of damage if I hit. That's quite a bit. Definitely hit. So that is 14, 17. I needed not nearly that much, so that is 4 points of damage to Etrigan. That puts him, 1, 2, 3, 4, that puts him into the blue immediately. I need to do a stamina check or be knocked out. His stamina is 12, so it's pretty hard to knock out Etrigan, but we'll see. 12 or higher, or 12 or lower, excuse me. Need to get 12 or lower to stay standing. He is just fine. I got a 9. But he is in the blue. He takes a knockout check immediately, which I just did. He will take another knockout check at the end of the turn. All right, that was... oh, and I also did overwhelming ire, which means I get to move 1 inch. So I'm going to move Lobo right there, and that is his turn. Over to the Justice League. It's time once again for Deadman to do his thing. Oh man, this guy is so brutal. All right, so I'm going to activate Deadman. He is sitting on 8 power. He's within 2 inches of the Lexcorp Heavy Trooper. So he is going to try to take over his body. So that's going to cost me 6 power. That takes me down to 2. Lexcorp Heavy Trooper. He needs to make a willpower roll -1 to not get taken over. So he needs to roll 6 or lower on 2d8 to not get possessed. Let's see if he gets possessed. Oh, he fails just by a little bit. So, Deadman model gets removed. The Lexcorp Heavy Trooper now is possessed. He will activate as part of the Justice League turn's initiative order. And that is Deadman's turn. Over to the Lexcorp villains. All right, over to the villains side. Looking around the table, seeing what we can do here. That Lexcorp trooper just saw his boss, Lex Luthor, throw Oliver Queen off the top of a building. So it looks like boss wants work done on Oliver. I'm looking around the board, you know, the enemies that are within range that are damaged, or that, you know, might be something that poor little Lexcorp trooper can do some damage to, are either far away or not a very good target. So he's going to spend 1 power to walk 4 inches over to Oliver Queen. Oliver Queen is knocked down, but he's not knocked out. Okay, so that Lexcorp trooper walks over to Oliver Queen. He is attack 6. Oliver Queen is normally defense 16. He is down, so that makes him -2 to defense, so that's 14. That means he needs a 9 or higher on 2d8. That's a little higher than probability I'm really comfortable with, so I'm going to overload that attack, see if I can hit him on 9 or higher on 3d8. That's a hit. It is not a crit, but it's definitely a hit. So that is 2 physical damage against Oliver Queen. That actually puts Oliver in the pale. Does not need to take a knockout check right now, but at the end of the turn he will need to make sure that he is not KO'd. So that is Lexcorp trooper over to the Justice League. Alright, over to the Justice League now. The heavy Lexcorp trooper is now part of the Justice League team because he's been taken over by Deadman. He's sitting on 7 points of power. So he is going to stay put, and he's going to spend all of his power trying to eliminate that last Lexcorp trooper. If I can thin out the models, I've got a chance to stay ahead in this game. So, Lexcorp Heavy Trooper. Attack 7. Lexcorp Trooper defense, energy defense is 15. He's going to spend 1 power to improve his defense, his energy defense, by 1. He's a flying model, so he gets +1 to his defense as well. So his defense is 17 with the defensive improvement, and 18 because he's a flying model. Shooting a flying model. So the attack is 8, trying to hit an 18. That means I need an 11 or higher for the laser cannons. He's in range, so I need 11 or higher. So it's cost 2. I'm going to spend 3, take my stack down to 4. Try to hit 11 or higher on 3 dice for the Lexcorp Heavy Trooper. Let's see if I can do work. 11 or higher. Yeah, got it. No crit, but I got it. So that is 3 points of damage, which puts that Lexcorp Trooper in the pale. I need to make a KO test at the end of the turn. So that was the first shot. Hit with an 11. I can do 1 more. I can't overload it, but I could. Why don't I do a Kryptonite Beam? That does 4 points of damage, and I've got 4. I still need... Ooh, it's a magic defense, which is easier to hit. So let's do a Kryptonite Beam. It cost me 4. That would be the rest of my stack. It's a magic attack. His attack is 8, defense of 13. So I need a 6 or higher on 2 dice in order to hit that Lexcorp Trooper. 6 or higher. Oh, whiffed. All right, well, it was worth a shot. I leave that Lexcorp Trooper on 0 power, on the heavy Lexcorp Trooper on 0 power. Now, I'm done with his activation. Deadman pops out within 4 inches of him. So I'm going to put him right here. So Deadman pops out right there. And that is their activation for the Justice League. Back over to the villains. Alright, over to the villains. I am going to activate Bane. He is sitting on 8 power. He is going to spend 2 to run up to Etrigan. I think if we could put him in the dirt, and he's close. He's very, very close. I don't know that I can fully put him in the dirt this turn, but run him up here. Base-to-base contact. Bane is going to do his once per game attack called Titan Strike. That costs him 5, and I'm going to overload it. So, cost me 5, it does 5 damage. It's a physical attack. It causes push 4 and critical distract. If I get a critical, I get distract 2. So, that means he is on attack 8 Etrigan's physical defense is 17 because he's already done the defensive improvement for that. So 8 versus a 17, that means I need to get a 10 or higher. So if I overload that attack on 3 dice, that means I need to get 10 or higher on 3 dice, which isn't terrible odds, but that will completely spend Bane's stack with the Titan Strike. So 10 or higher, 3d8 for 5 damage, physical damage on Etrigan. He does have resistance 1 to physical damage, so this won't kill him outright, but it will almost put him in the dirt. So 10 or higher. I think I got it. Yep, 10. 8, well, 12, but I get a 10. So that does 4 points of damage to Etrigan. He is in the blue. I have to take an immediate knockout check for Etrigan. He is stamina 12. Stamina 12, need a 12 or lower. He's fine. He's standing. He's got 1 health left. Bane has done everything that he can do over to the Justice League. Next up for the Justice League, I'm going to activate Black Orchid. So she is going to... I want to line up the pheromone spray at some point to get multiple villains, but that's really best if you want to stun people and pull a lot of power off them so they can have really much more poor activations. But I didn't think of activating her early enough in the turn, so I think I'm going to try to do something else. I think I'm going to try to throw that the heavy Lexcorp trooper out of the current zone so that he doesn't add towards the total in this zone. Even though I've got Deadman and Orchid, I feel like throwing him into the zone over here really kind of solidifies my position in this quadrant. So she's going to spend 1 to walk up to the heavy Lexcorp trooper. It's going to put her on 6. She is going to do an overloaded grab and throw. It's going to cost her 4, taking her down to 2. She's going to grab him. Her attack is 6. His physical defense is 14. He is completely out of stack, so he cannot do a defensive improvement. So she is 6, he is 14. That means I need a 9 or higher on 2 dice. I am overloading it, so I need a 9 or higher on 3 dice to grab and throw him. No problem. Totally can grab and throw him. So her strength is 4. That means I can throw him 8 inches. I'm going to throw him in this direction. He will be knocked down, and he will take strength minus 1 damage, which is 3. So he took 3 damage, physical damage. Now he's got resistance 1, so he only takes 2 damage. But that puts him into the pale, so he'll need to do a knockout check at the end of the turn. So that is Black Orchid. Back over to the villains. Alright, next up for the villains is Killer Frost. She is 4 inches away from Red Hood. She has an ability called Iced Floor. It's once per turn, costs 3. Until the end of the round, other models in range suffer -2 agility. So that's a once per turn. So any models within 4 inches of her suffer -2 to their agility. So that is Jason Todd, and it's also Deadman. So looks like it doesn't need a roll to hit or anything like that. They just suffer -2 agility. So Jason Todd is -2 agility, which is actually really good because he's quite agile. I need to do some attacks against him as well with the rest of her power. So that cost her 3. She started at 8, so now she's down to 5. Now she's going to try to do a Ice Storm. That costs me another 3. It's a template attack, so I just need to roll agility whether or not I take full or half damage. So with a -2 agility, Jason Todd is at agility 8. He does have acrobat, so he can re-roll these, but I need 8 or lower to take half damage. He actually makes it, but he still takes 1 point of damage from that attack, so still in the gray. She's got 2 power left. She's going to try casting or throwing Ice Daggers at cost 2. That will spend her entire stack. She's going to throw Ice Daggers at Jason. He is at defense 17 for energy. He's going to spend 1 to do a defense improvement on energy. That puts him at 19. She is at attack 6. So that means I need 14 or higher on 2d8. Yeah, this is going to be tough, but hey, what can you do? Oh, I saw that 7 and I got a little bit excited. So she did not hit, but it did make him pull a little bit of power off to do the defensive improvement. So he is doing okay. She did a little bit of damage, and that is her turn. We're going to go back over to the Justice League Dark. Next up for the Justice League, I'm going to activate Red Hood, Jason Todd. He is sitting on 6 power. He is going to do a walk move for 1. He's going to walk back a little bit. Let's try to stay within the zone so that Killer Frost can't really hurt him. Moved him back there. So he is also in range for some handgun attack. So that's what he's going to do. So it's going to cost him 2 power to shoot Killer Frost. She's on 0 power to bolster any defenses. So her physical defense is 16. His attack is 8. So that means he needs a 9 or higher to hit on 2 dice. He's actually going to overload that to make sure that he hits. So that's going to cost him 3 power. He needs 9 or higher on 3d8 in order to hit. That does 2 damage if I hit. So 9 or higher. Definitely hit and a crit. So that is 3 points of damage to Killer Frost. She is still in the gray. Still healthy, but that leaves him on 2 power. It is nearly the end of the turn. I'm just going to spend my stack. He's got 1 more attack he can do. Can't overload it. I've only got 2 power anyway, so he's going to spend his stack, try to hit that again. 9 or higher on 2d8. Oh wow, that was an 8. Hits. So that is 2 points of damage again to Killer Frost. She is now in the pale. She will have to take a knockout check at the end of the turn. All right. Good work by Red Hood. All right, at this point, all of the villain models have actually activated, and it's interesting because I'm playing it where if Deadman activates through a possession, that model's activation has happened. I'm assuming that their activations get subsumed by the occupying player. So that leaves Swamp Thing and Oliver Queen left to activate. So I'm going to activate Swamp Thing. He's sitting on 10 power. He's sitting right next to that Lexcorp trooper. He's going to spend 1 power to kind of just walk right here. He is knocked down. He's not knocked out. So he's spent 1. He's up 10. He's going to go down to 9. And he is going to do an attack. So he is going to do Altered Limb attack. That costs 3. It's a physical attack. It does 2 damage. He is currently at attack 6. The Lexcorp Heavy Trooper is at defense physical of 14. He is knocked down, so that's -2, so that's defense 12. So a 6 versus a 12, that means I need to hit a 7 or higher on 2d8 in order to hit him. That's definitely a hit. That's a hit. So that is 2 points of damage, which is -1 because he's got resistance 1 to physical. So that still puts him in the pale, but that does a point of damage. All right, so he's still got a little bit of gas in the tank, so I'm going to do an overloaded grab and throw. I'm going to pick that Lexcorp trooper up and chuck him. And that's going to take me 3 power. I need a 9 or higher on a physical attack to hit him. I think I'm going to overload it. Going to put him on 2 power just to make sure. I really want to make sure I get this because I want to throw him way into the back of the board. So 9 or higher on 3d8. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Completely missed. All right, so no grab or throw for poor Swamp Thing. That's going to end his activation on 2 power. There's really not enough gas in the tank left to do anything. So that's going to be it for him. All right, over to the last activation for the Justice League Dark. I've got Green Arrow. He is on his back, rolling in pain from being thrown off the top of the building. He is in the pale, so he'll need to take a KO check at the end of the turn. But he has some gas in the tank, so he is power 7. Since he used a defensive improvement before, he's going to spend 1 power to stand up. So that puts him on power 6. Now, we need to figure out what he's going to do. So we're in Oliver Queen's activation, and we're in a really interesting position because this is the last model to activate for this turn. We're almost done with turn 3. Oliver Queen is sitting on 6 power. He stood up. He has 6 power left to go. This quadrant is heavily contested. So the villains have 13, 23, 30 points worth of models in this zone. The heroes have 10, 24, 30 points of models within the zone. The question will be, I think Oliver Queen has a chance to break the tie by running into this zone. So his run is 8 inches. So if he can get within this zone, basically, yeah, he can totally get within the zone. This is the midline of the zone. So if he runs over here, I'm going to spend 2 power. He's going to be at 4. He runs over here. That basically claims this zone for the heroes. So if I run him basically right there, I mean, really all I have to do is here, but I'll put him here. He's worth 6 power, so it's 36 power to the heroes, 30 power to the villains. The heroes now own that zone. Heroes own that zone. Heroes own that zone. The villains own that zone. So it looks like we're at a place where I know how the turn is shaping up in terms of points, but we still have 4 power left for Oliver Queen. Let's see what he can do, if he can do any work. Okay, Green Arrow is going to attempt to shoot Killer Frost this turn. He's got 4 power left. He's going to try to do a standard arrow. Now let's do a taser arrow. The stun doesn't really apply here because it's the end of the turn. It's not going to strip any power off of her, but it actually does 2 damage instead of just the 1. So he is attack 7. She is electrical or energy defense 16. She's completely spent her stack. She cannot do any defensive improvements. So if he is attack 7, she is a 16. That means he needs 10 or higher on 2 dice. That cost me 2 by default. It's a once per rounder, so I might as well just overload it. That's going to cost me 3. So I need 10 or higher on 3 dice to hit Killer Frost. Let's see if we can do it. Not with rolls like that. So he completely missed. He's only got 1 power left. There's really not much he can do with that. So that is the end of turn 3, and what a turn it was. Let's come back with a turn recap and some knockout checks, and then we'll see where we're at. All right, end of turn 3. Let's talk board state. I think we've already kind of covered. This quadrant is occupied by the heroes because Oliver Queen, excuse me, because Oliver Queen ran into that zone. That board quadrant is covered by the heroes as well, as is that one. That board quadrant is covered by the villains. So it's 1, 2, 3 additional points for the heroes, 1 point for the villain, plus 1 more point because more board quadrants are covered by the heroes. So we're getting a little bit of a runaway here. Let's see if the villains can catch up. So it's plus 4 victory points for the heroes and plus 1 for the villains. So that leaves us at the top, or excuse me, at the bottom of turn 3, a score of 10 to the Justice League Dark, 4 for the villains. We're going to go back into the dice bag, and let's do some knockout checks, right? So we've got several people that are on the brink. So first up, that heavy trooper is knocked down, and he is knocked down, but he's also in the pale, so we need to do a knockout check. His stamina is 9 or lower. Oh, he is KO'd. All right, so he is KO'd. Killer Frost is in the pale, 8 or less on her stamina. Okay, she's okay. Lexcorp Trooper 1 is in the pale, 8 or less. He's okay. Not bad, not bad. Lobo's fine. Green Arrow is in the pale. His stamina is 8 or less. Oh, he is knocked out. Bummer. All right. Etrigan. He's in the blue. His stamina is 12, so 12 or less. I believe since he's a soldier, he gets to re-roll this if I don't do well. Oh, he's fine. So he's still standing. So Lex Luthor, need an 8 or less. Oh, just barely. He's fine. So Green Arrow knocked out. Lexcorp Heavy Trooper knocked out. Everyone else is okay. Got some people that are pretty banged up. That is the bottom of turn 3. I'm going to re-rack power. There's some regeneration that needs to happen, particularly like with Jason Blood, the Demon Etrigan. He regains 2 power or 2 health endurance. He's still in the blue. Lobo is going to gain regeneration too, so he's back up to full health. Orchid, I believe, has regeneration, but I don't think she's taking any damage. And I think that's it in terms of regeneration. Okay, I'm going to re-rack power. We're going to come back and do the dice bag pull for turn 4. All right, we have re-racked power. We are ready to go to top of turn 4. We're going to reach into the bag and see who gets turn priority. I still think we've got turn priority for the villains and villains. Turn priority for turn 4. All right, top of turn 4, Lobo is going to attack and try to finish off Etrigan. He's going to start with his heavy lasgun. That's a ranged attack. It is once per turn. It is cost 3, so that he is attack 8. Jason, or Etrigan, is actually defense 13 on energy. He's actually -1 to all defenses because he's in the blue. So he's going to spend 1 power down to 9 to get his energy defense up to 15. The attack is 8, so that means he needs an 8 or higher on 2d8 in order to hit. So he's going to overload that, so it's going to cost him 3, and he's also going to use... he's going to overload that, so that's 4. So I need 8 or higher on 3d8 to hit Etrigan. So 8 or higher, 3d8. That's definitely a hit and a crit. Oh, that's not good news. Okay, so that's an energy attack. So he has energy resistance 1, but it is a crit. So normally it's 3 damage up to 4. But down to 3 because of energy resistance, but that actually does finish off Etrigan. Hit all of his hitboxes, so he is out of the game. Oh, poor Etrigan, he is dead. So Lobo still got some gas left in the tank. Let's see what he does. All right, Lobo still has gas in the tank. He's actually going to spend 1 to walk over to Green Arrow. 1 to walk, that's 5 inches, just shy of 5 inches, so he can walk right over there. He is going to do a grab and throw attack. He is strength 4, he's size 3. He can definitely grab and throw a Green Arrow. I don't even need to overload that. I think it's going to be a pretty easy throw. So remember, Oliver Queen is knocked out, so that means his defenses are -4. So physical defense is normally 16, so -4. He is down to 12. Lobo's attack is 8. He only needs a 5 or higher to hit on 2d8. He's going to try to spend that 3. I might as well overload it to see if I get a crit. So I'm going to spend 4. That's going to put him on nothing. I need a 5 or higher on 3d8 to do a grab and throw. Definitely got it with a 8. Yeah, definitely got it. No crit though. So he is strength 4. he can therefore throw him 8 inches. So he's just going to pick up the knocked out Oliver Queen and huck him 8 inches this away. Try to get him on the other side there. So bam. So he does strength -1 damage, which is 3. So Oliver Queen takes 3 damage and he's still knocked out. You can see Oliver Queen over there. He's knocked out over by that garbage truck, and that will end Lobo's turn. He is on 0 power left. We're going to go over to the Justice League. All right, next up, over to the Justice League Dark. I'm going to activate Swamp Thing. He is standing over a knocked out Lexcorp Heavy Trooper, so he's just going to try to spend his stack and bludgeon him to death. So I'm going to try to do a grab and throw and spike him like a football. So he is attack 5, +1 is 6 because he's in the gray, so he is attack 6. The physical defense on the Lexcorp Heavy Trooper at this point is he's at 10. He's -4, so because he is knocked out. So if my attack is 6, my target, I got to beat a 10, so I need a 5 or higher on 2d8 to grab and throw him. I'm going to overload that just to make sure it connects. So that's going to cost me 4 power. It's going to spend my stack down to 6. I need a 5 or higher on 3d8 and to connect with this grab and throw. I think I got it. No crit. So 9. Yeah, definitely got it. So that is a grab and throw. I pick him up and smash him into the ground at strength -1 damage. So that is 4 damage physical. He actually has a resistance of 1. So that actually puts him into the blue. He has got 2 hit boxes remaining. I am just going to now do a altered limb attack. That's a cost 3 attack. It is physical, so again, I'm going to spend 4 points, take me down to 2. I need 5 or higher on 3d8 in order to connect with this attack. Hit. No crit, but that is definitely enough damage to do 2 more points of damage, and that puts the heavy Lexcorp Trooper in the dirt. So that completes the activation for Swamp Thing. I'm going to leave him on 2 power. He's just going to camp that quadrant and claim that for the Justice League. So I'm going to move over to the villain turn. All right, next up for the villains, I'm actually going to activate Killer Frost. And I've got, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. It seems interesting. Dead Man is a pain in the butt. And look, I'm going to talk about this in the post game, but he might be a little too good for his points. But regardless, we're having fun. So, but Killer Frost might have a little trick up her sleeve. So she's currently sitting on 8 power, or 7 power, excuse me. She is going to use a once per turn ability called Iced Floor. It costs her 3, so that puts her down to 4. That says, until the end of the round, other models suffer a -2 agility. There does not seem to be a roll for that. It looks like it just happens automatically. So both Orchid and Dead Man are -2 agility. Now, she is also within range to use a once per turn Ice Storm attack, which is the template. I can easily hit both from her position. So she's going to do that. So that costs 3 power, so that's going to take her down to 1 power. And that is Ensnared 3, and it causes 2 damage if you fail the agility roll. So my hope is that Dead Man and Orchid, or both, fail their agility rolls and get the Ensnare 3, which slows them down. So Dead Man, and also does 2 points of damage if they fail it, and only 1 point of damage if they don't fail it. So -2 because of the iced floor. Dead Man's agility is 8, so he needs to roll 6 or lower in order to avoid damage of that spray attack. So 6 or lower. He fails. So he is in Snare 3, which means he's slower by 3 on everything, and he takes 2 points of damage, which is actually kind of nice. That's the first damage he's taken. All right, now Orchid needs to do the same thing. She is normally agility 8. She is -2. So she needs to roll 6 or lower on 2d8 to avoid full damage and the effect. She does not avoid it. She rolled a, oops, that was a 4. So she rolled a 13. So she is in snare 3 and takes 2 damage as well. So you know what? That's not a half bad attack. You know, I mean, I don't think that's actually going to stop Deadman, but he's moving a little slower, and that's that. So that is Killer, that's Killer Frost's turn. We're going to go over to the Justice League Dark. Okay, over to Justice League Dark. Actually, that was pretty effective. So what that means is that Deadman is now -3 to all of his movement. So if he wants to get over to Bane, he's got to be within 2 inches. He can run and get over there, but that's going to spend 2 points, leaving him just enough to try to do possession. He could also try to do Jason Todd, who's kind of close to him as well, but not nearly... Sorry, not Jason Todd. Jason Todd's on the same team. He could try to do Lobo or the other Lexcorp trooper farther away from him over here. Lobo's right here. It's a little bit off camera. But he's going to try to... he's going to spend 2 to walk 3 because he's slowed from Killer Frost's ice. So he's there. And he's going to try to do possession. He has just enough to try possession. Bane gets to do a willpower roll. I believe it's a willpower roll, right? My willpower roll, yep. So I need to roll 6 or lower on 2d8 to avoid possession. Let's see how it goes. So I need to roll a 6 or lower to avoid possession. Hey! Look at that! He didn't get possessed! Bane is very lucky this turn. Alright, so that is Deadman's turn. Back over to the villains. Alright, over to the villain turn. I am going to activate Bane. And he has already used his Titan Strike ability this turn. It's once per gamer. He's going to use his Titan Dose. So that is once per game. He hits the buttons and all the, you know, the steroid juice pumps through his body. And until the end of the round, it's a once per game effect. It costs 1, so that takes him down to 7. Until the end of the round, this model gains +1 strength, attack, and speed. So that's actually great because he is going to try to rush Orchid and throw her to the other side of the board to see if he can't help try to claim this quadrant zone over here. So he's going to then spend 2 to run. That takes him to 5. So he is going to run over here. He can definitely make it, particularly since he's got the Titan Dose. He's definitely got the juice. So he will end his turn right there, or end his move right there. He's left on 5 power. He is going to do a grab and throw on Orchid. Okay, but before Bane can attack, Orchid has a green use anytime passive power called Impersonation. If this model has not been activated this round, which she has not, and is targeted by an attack, the attacking model must first pass a willpower roll. Bane's willpower is not fantastic. It is 7, so I must roll 7 or lower in order to do the attack. No problem. Rolled a pair of 2s. He can do the attack. Now, he's going to do a grab and throw. He's got 5 power. He's going to overload that for sure. He is attack 9 with the Titan Dose. So he was on 5. He's going to overload that. It's going to take his stack down to 1. So his attack is 9. Orchid's physical defense is 17. She's on 7 power. She's going to spend 1 down to 6. Boost her defenses. She is now at physical defense 19 with an attack of 9. That means Bane needs a 9 versus a 19. He needs an 11 or higher on 3d8 to hit. Okay, 11 or higher on 3d8. Let's see if he gets it. 11. He gets it. I was counting the numbers there. I was like, actually, did he actually get it? He got it. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So he actually does the grab and throw. So he can throw twice his strength right now with the Titan Dose. He is strength 5. So that means he can throw her a total of 10 inches. So that throws her, he's going to throw her kind of behind him. to right there, which knocks her down and does strength -1 damage. So his strength right now is 5 with the Titan dose. That means she's got 4 damage. And, ooh, that's tough. 1, 2, 3, 4. She is in the pale. So she will take a knockout check at the end of the game turn. So, wow, what a clutch play by Bane. He picked her up and threw her across the field like a rag doll. All right, over to the Justice League side. Oliver Queen was knocked down. He was thrown and knocked down, and he is knocked out. He did not pass his knockout check last turn. So I'm going to see if we can actually wake him up. He needs to roll stamina 8 or less on 2d8 to see if he can get back up. Nope, he is still knocked out. So he forfeits his turn, and we're going over to the Lexcorp villains. All right, I'm going to activate Lex in his war suit. So he is sitting on 7 power. He's going to spend 3 to fly down his 12 inches, which puts him right about there. And he is going to do some shooting attacks against poor Oliver Queen. All right, Lex Luthor in his war suit is going to do an energy blast. That's a once per turn 3-point power against the knocked out Oliver Queen. So he's going to overload that in the hope that he can get a crit and put Oliver Queen in the dirt for all time here. So that's going to cost him 3 power. So that is a energy attack. Oliver Queen is got an energy of 15, but he's knocked out, so his defense is 11. Warsuit Lex has got a attack of 6. So that means he needs to get a 6 or higher on 2d6. I'm overloading it, so he needs to get a 6 or higher on 3d6 in order to do damage on Oliver Queen. So 6 or higher, 3d6. Let's see what we get. Definitely got 6 or higher. No crit, unfortunately. So that only does 2 damage. It's explosive 3, but doesn't really matter because there's no targets. So that only does 2 points of damage, and that is the end of Warsuit Lex's turn. Oliver Queen has 1 damage remaining, and he is out of the game. So that is Warsuit Lex. We're going to go back over to the Justice League Dark. Okay, Justice League Dark, they're kind of on the ropes all of a sudden. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. So I'm going to go over to Black Orchid. She is knocked down, so I'm going to activate her. She is on 6 power right now. Because she tried to bolster her defenses last turn, and her physical defenses against Bane, and it didn't work, unfortunately. So she is knocked down, so she has to spend 1 to stand up. So that puts her at 5. Now, she's at 5. She just got thrown over. Now, in order to contest this zone, she's in a zone that Swamp Thing already has. In order for her to actually have a meaningful presence, she's going to have to contest a zone or bolster a zone. And right now, Bane is in the quadrant that she used to be in. She is only 8 levels, Bane is 10, so even if she came over here, it wouldn't be enough. Maybe Jason Todd could run over here as well. So, now remember, she also got freeze raid by Killer Frost, so she's -3 to all of her movement. She's got plenty of power, but she can fly 9. She can spend 3 to fly 9 to try to get back into this zone and try to help score, but Jason Todd is going to have to make it over as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend the 3. That takes her down to 2 power, which is not a whole lot left. And she can fly 9, which is enough to get her over. I think I'm going to try to put her over here. Hopefully away from Bane a little bit. But if she can land there, it's not enough to override Bane. He's level 10 levels and she's only 8. But if Jason Todd or Red Hood comes over, that'll be enough to swing the tide in that quadrant, because he's not going to take this quadrant that he's in. Alright, so that is Orchid, we're going to move over to the Justice League Dark. Right. The only model left to activate on the Justice League Dark side is Jason Todd. He would have had to have gotten to about here, I pre-measured it, to about here to be able to claim that he is on this quadrant. Sadly, his movement takes him about a 1/4 inch away from that mark. So, that's not great. So he is not going to be able to contest that quadrant. However, between him and Deadman, that's 16 points. He's 13, so I still can't... I think the villains are going to have this quadrant as well. The villains are going to have 3 quadrants this turn. There's no way around it. So I think the best thing I can do with Jason Todd is try to get him over on the other side of the board so that he can actually join forces with Swamp Thing and Orchid to try to balance the remaining turns with points. So here's what I'm going to do. He is going to spend... He's at 7 points of power. He's going to spend 2 to run. That's going to take him to 5. That's going to basically take him to about here. About there, actually. He's almost parallel with Killer Frost. He is going to try to shoot her. So it costs him 2 for each shot. Does 2 damage, range of 10. So he's going to try his handguns. He's going to shoot Killer Frost. She is currently at... her physical defense is 16. She has 1 power. She's going to boost that to 19. So she's out of power, but she's got a 19 physical defense. Jason Todd's attack is 8. So in order to hit a 19, to beat a 19, I need to get 12 or higher on 2d8. He is going to overload that. So he's going to spend 3, taking him down to 2. He's just going to try to get a 12 or higher on 3d8 to do some damage to Killer Frost. Hits and a crit, as a matter of fact. So that's actually a fantastic outcome. So that is 3 points of damage to Killer Frost. That actually puts her in the blue. So she needs to make an immediate KO check. This could be big. Her stamina is 8, so she needs an 8 or lower on 2d8. Oh! She is immediately knocked out. She is knocked out, my friends. Alright. That is turn. I believe everyone has been activated. Oh no, Warsuit Lex and Warsuit Lex has gone. Excuse me. Lexcorp Trooper number 1 has not gone. And I think that's it. Alright, we will come back with Warsuit, or with Lexcorp Trooper number 1 as the final activation. Alright, last model to activate for the turn is Lexcorp Trooper number 1. I'm just going to fly him over. He's not in range of any weapons that can actually do... Well, that's actually not true. He could fly over there and try to take Oliver Queen out of the game. But he's KO'd. I'm not really super worried about him. I think I'm going to fly him over here to continue to bolster this side of the table. So he's going to spend 2 power to run across here. We're just going to put him right there. Make sure that we completely have that zone. There's nothing really for him to attack. So that is going to be turn. So we're going to take a look at what we've got for zones, and we're going to come back with kind of a tally, and then we'll re-rack and then head into turn 5. All right, bottom of turn 4, let's take a look at board state. So I'm going to count down models equally because they're actually, I don't know, it doesn't say in the rule book that down model or KO models don't count towards objectives or scoring. I couldn't find it. If you can find it, please give me a rules page reference. I looked a little bit and I couldn't find it. Anyways, bottom line is that quadrant has really, even if Oliver Queen was up and running, Lex would hold that quadrant, so that quadrant goes to the villains. This quadrant, we've got Lobo, who is 13 points, Lexcorp Trooper, who is 4, so that's 17, and we've got Jade, or Killer Frost, who is 7. So that's 13, 17, 24. So that's 24 points for the villains, 10 and 6, 16 for the heroes. So this one's clearly villains. Bane, who is 10, Orchid, who is 8. This one's clearly villains. So 3 for the villains. Swamp Thing's holding that quadrant all by himself. So 3 quadrants for the villains. So that's 3 to the villains, 1 to the heroes. And then villains have more quadrants. So that's 4 points to the villains, 1 point to the heroes. So that puts the heroes at 11 and the villains at 8. It last turn was a little bit of a runaway. The villains are coming back. So 11 to 8 going into turn 4. We've also got some knockout rolls to check on. So let's do that. So a lot of the models that were KO'd or in the pale got killed this last turn. So Lexcorp Trooper, let's take a look at him. Lexcorp Trooper, he's actually in the pale. His stamina is 8. Does he stay up? No. He is actually knocked out. All right. Who's up next? Jason Todd's good. Deadman's good. Orchid is in the pale. So her stamina is 8. Does she get knocked out? She gets knocked out. Oh, brutal. All right. Killer Frost is already knocked out. Warsuit Lex, his stamina is 8 or lower, staying in the game. He's fine. All right. And then Oliver Queen, he's already knocked out. That's it. So Orchid, Killer Frost, Lexcorp Trooper 1, and Oliver Queen all knocked out. Going into top of turn 5, I'm going to re-rack power, going to do any regeneration as necessary, and we'll come back and do the dice bag draw. Okay, top of turn 5, power has been re-racked. Black Orchid is regenerated 1. Everyone else has got power counters correct and is status correct. So we're going to reach into the dice bag and see who gets turn priority. This turn, it's going to be the villains. All right, starting with the villains, I am going to start with Bane. He is currently on 8 power. He is going to walk on over to Orchid, who is knocked out, and he's going to try to beat the tar out of her. So he is only, say, 5 inches away. 4 inches away, 5, let's call it 5 inches away. He can walk over there, he can run over there, excuse me. So he's going to spend 2 to take his stack down to 6 to run over to her. Put him right there. And then he is going to try to grab and throw her. Her defense, normally for physical, is 17. She's knocked out, so her -4. So she is at defense 13. He is at power, or he is at attack 8. So he needs 6 or higher on 2d8. I think I'm going to try it without overloading. So that's going to cost me 3. So that's going to take him down to 3 power. So I need 6 or higher on 2d8. Got it. So with a little bit to spare. So he's going to grab her and spike her like a football. So that's going to do strength -1 damage. So that's 3 damage to Orchid. That puts her in the pale once again after she had regenerated. So she's still knocked out. She hasn't had her chance to wake up yet. So he is going to he's going to try to do a Mega Strike again. He's going to spend all of his power down his entire stack. She is at, again, defense 13. He is at attack 3, or attack 8. So he needs 6 or higher to do a Mega Strike. That's a cost 3, 2 damage attack. So 6 or higher. Definitely gets it. Does not crit. So that's just 2 points of damage against Orchid. So that gets her pretty close. She's got 1 more slot in the pale, and then she's in the blue. So that is Bane, and we're going to go over to Justice League Dark. All right, Justice League Dark. I feel like Oliver Queen has got to stand up or he is going to get killed this turn. So he needs to make a willpower, or sorry, he needs to make a stamina check, which is 8. So he needs 8 or lower on 2d8 in order to wake up. Let's see if he can do it. He does it! All right. He stands up. He wakes up, spends 1 to stand up. So he's already -1 because he was knocked out. So he spends 1 to stand up. He's at 6 now. All right. So he is knocking on death's door. I honestly think discretion is the better half of valor if he can try to stay alive. You know what? He's a hero. He's going to try to take out the bad guys. So he is looking at Warsuit Lex. He's got line of sight, and he is going to try to shoot him. So he has got a couple different attacks. Let's take a look and see what he can do. So he is going to try to do a taser arrow, which does range 12, 2 damage, and does stun 2. So he is currently attack 6. Warsuit Lex is defense. That is a energy attack. Warsuit Lex is 15 defense. So he's going to spend 1 to increase his defense. So that takes him to 6. So he is at 17 defense. So Green Arrow is at attack 6. To hit a 17, he needs 12 or higher on 2d8. Oof. So he's going to overload that. So it's going to cost him 2. It's going to cost him 3 to overload it. So he needs 12 or higher on 3d8 to hit Warsuit Lex with that taser arrow. All right, 12 or higher, 3d8. Hey, well, would you look at that? 5, 6, 7. That's a straight. Okay, so he actually does hit. So that does, it's not a crit, unfortunately. That would have been pretty sweet if it was. But that does 2 damage against Warsuit Lex. That puts him deeper into the pale. And he's got 3 more energy he can spend. Well, if he's going to do it, he might as well do it now. He's going to do his explosive arrow. It's range 12. Energy again, so he'll overload it to spend his entire stack to see if he can do a little bit more damage on Warsuit Lex. Same numbers. I need 12 or higher on 3d8. Unbelievable. He got it. So that actually does 3 damage against Warsuit Lex. Warsuit Lex is still barely in the pale by 1 pip. So that was actually a fair amount of damage. That's pretty impressive from a guy that was just knocked out. So that is Oliver Queen. He spent his entire stack trying to do some damage, you know, on his last hurrah against Warsuit Lex, and that is Justice League turn. We're going to go back to the villains. All right, next up on my cavalcade of trying to wake people up, we're going to move over to the villains, and Killer Frost. Oh, blanked on the name, sorry. Killer Frost is knocked out. She will wake back up on a stamina check of 8 or higher. So let's see if she wakes up. Oh yeah, she is awake. All right, so she already took the 1 power penalty for being knocked out. So she's at 6 power. She stands up. That's 5 power. Stands up for 1. All right, so at least she's not defenseless. She is not knocked out. She is going to try to do, what can she do? That little trick on Dead Man did not, was not terrible. And she's actually pretty close to 2 different Justice League heroes. So she could actually do some damage with that once per turn ice slide thingy. So we're going to try to do that. So she has the ability... iced floor, excuse me. So that costs 3 power, so that takes her down to 2. Oh, but that won't allow me to do the ice storm. I have to have 6 power total for that, don't I? Okay, so she's only got 5 power. What should I do? I'm going to try the ensnare thing, and even though it's at high, a high agility roll, that's what we're going to have to do. So that's going to leave her at 2 power. That'll leave her for some defensive improvements if she needs it. So that again is a spray attack. She will spray against Dead Man which is totally in range. So Deadman now must make an agility roll of 8 or less, or be ensnared and take 2 damage. Well, actually, he's invisible, so she would actually have to move first, wouldn't she? So I would have to get within 1 inch. So let's do that. Let's do this properly. So she's going to walk, so that's actually going to take her down to 1 power. And then she's going to do that spray attack. So Deadman must make an agility roll, or he will be ensnared 3 and take 2 damage. So 8 or less. Oh, he's fine. So he does take 1 point of damage, but does not suffer the ensnare. So he takes 1 point of damage, and that is Killer Frost's turn. All right, back over to the hero side, the Justice League. Black Orchid is not dead yet, so she is knocked out, but she's not dead. She needs to pass a stamina check. Her stamina is 8. She needs to roll 8 or higher on, or 8 or lower, excuse me, on 2d8 to wake up. Hey, she woke up, just what she needed. So she is wakes up. She's already -1 power because she was knocked out. So she's going to spend 1 to stand up, which puts her at 5. That puts her right there. Okay, so now 2 can play the throwing game, Mr. Bane. So she right now is able to do a grab and throw. Let's see, her size, or her strength is 4. Bane's size is 3, so she can grab and throw him. So she will do a grab and throw against Bane and try to get him out of the zone, or out of that quadrant, so that she might be able to score it. Now, the question is, I can throw him strength times 2. That is 8 inches. I don't know if I can throw him. I can definitely throw him this way and get him out of the zone. Yeah, let's do that. So, she needs her attack is 6. Bane's physical defense is 14. He spent his entire stack, so he cannot defend against that. So she is attack 6. She can overload it. Her attack is 6. His defense is 14. So that means she needs a 9 or higher on 3 dice. She's going to overload it, leaving her with 1 power. She's going to overload it. I need a 9 or higher on 3 dice. Definitely got it. Didn't get a critical, but she got it. All right, so that means he is thrown and knocked down and takes 3 damage, but only 2 damage because he's resistance 1. So he'll take 2 damage, and he will be thrown 8 inches, and she's going to throw him that away, directly away from the zone, and he's going to be knocked down over there. So that is her turn, and we're going to pass it on to the villains. All right, next up for the villains, I think it's prudent to get this guy up. I wanted to get Lobo either attacking Orchid or Oliver Queen there in the corner, but I feel like if Deadman activates next, he might try to activate Lobo and then try to kill him while he's a really easy target. So I think just getting him up is a really good idea. So Lexcorp Trooper number 1 has a stamina of 8. He needs 8 or lower on 2d8 to wake up. Will he get back in the game? Yeah, actually he will. I thought that was a 7 and not a 2. So actually he wakes up. So he is already -1 power from being knocked out. So he spends 1 power to stand up, which is 5. So what to do with him? Let's figure out what he can do with 5 power. So the Lexcorp Trooper has woke up. He has 5 power left after standing up, so he is going to spend 2 to run over and try to punch this guy right here. So he's got 5 power. He spent 2 to run over there. That leaves him with 3. That gives him 3 power to try to do a strike attack. So that is 3 power. He is attack 6. Jason is defense, physical defense of 17. he is going to spend one of his few remaining power, take him down to 3. Wait, no, he should have... Lexcorp Trooper attack is 6. Jason Todd's defense is 17, so that means he would need a 12 or higher on 2d6. He's going to spend 1 power to bolster his defense to a 19. So that means the Lexcorp Trooper needs a 14 or higher on 2d6. That's going to be tough. So let's see what we get. Definitely not. Yeah, total miss. So that is the Lexcorp Trooper. That is the end of his activation, and we're going to go over to the Justice League Dark. All right, Justice League Dark. I'm going to activate Deadman, and he's going to go try to take over or possess Lobo. So Deadman is sitting on 8 power. He can run 8 inches by spending 2. So that gets him very close to Lobo. So he's got 6 power left. I need Lobo to pass a willpower check of 7 or lower in order to not get possessed by Deadman. Here we go. Oh, just missed it. All right, that means Deadman is removed from the board, and Lobo for this turn is now part of the Justice League turn. So that is Deadman's activation. We're going to go over to the villains. All right, given that Lobo is now part of the Justice League, just for this turn, I need to be smart about what Lobo can get to and what kind of damage he can do. So what I'm going to try to do is get Lex Luthor out of range of Lobo as best I can. So I'm going to activate Lex. So he is sitting on power 6. He is going to spend 3 to fly. It's going to take him down to 3. He's going to fly 12 inches over this jump truck and kind of out of the way, but still hopefully able to shoot Oliver Queen. So I'm going to put him right there and come back and show you a better angle. So the hope and the goal is here, Lex was standing over here. I flew him over here. I believe he's got line of sight to Oliver Queen's back. He doesn't have a whole lot of power left. He's only got 3 power left, but Lobo's sitting here. He might be able to come over here and maybe put a shot on Lex, but we'll see. I don't want to make him too tantalizing of a target. So he might go for Killer Frost. He might go for that Lexcorp Trooper. But those are the 2. He's going to have to make a choice. Or I'm going to have to make a choice. If I'm going to go for Lex, or I'm going to try to put one of these guys in the dirt. So that's time to hear there. I'm trying to strategically position Lex to where he can survive, as well as do some damage to Green Arrow. So he's got 3 left in the stack. He's going to try to do a attack on Green Arrow to put him in the dirt. Green Arrow is really hurting. He's only got 1 hitbox left, so any old love tap will do. So I am going to try to do an overloaded attack of Electrical Blast. I believe that's an 8-inch range, and it costs 2, and I'm going to try to overload that and see if I can hit. Alright, Warsuit Lex is attack 6. Green Arrow is defense 15. He's spent his entire stack. He has no power left to do defensive improvements, so I need a 10 or higher with Lex to hit. So I'm going to actually spend all 3 points remaining to overload that. So I need 10 or higher on 3 dice to hit with this electrical attack. If I hit, Oliver Queen is out of the game. So 10 or higher. That's a hit. Not a crit, but I didn't need one. All I needed was a 10. So 1 point of damage to Oliver Queen, and he is dead. All right, back over to the Justice League, and I am going to activate Lobo, who is possessed by Deadman. And I think if I'm the Justice League player playing Deadman to his finest, I see that Killer Frost is pretty hurt. So I think I'm going to try to take her out of the game. So, Lobo, activating 9 power. He can walk 5 or run 8. Let's see how far away he is from Killer Frost. So he is, I think it's definitely going to be a run. Yeah, he needs to run. So that's going to take him down to 7. All right, 7 power. That gets him into base-to-base contact with Killer Frost. Now, one thing I could do is grab and throw her. He is strength 4, so if he threw her, that would do 3 points of damage, which would be just enough to kill her. So I think that's what he is going to try to do. He is attack 8. She is physical defense 16. She has 1 power left. She's going to spend that power to bolster her defenses to 18. So that means he needs an 11 or higher on 2 dice. So he is going to spend 1 more power to make it cost 4 power to add 3 dice. So he needs 11 or higher on 3 dice to grab and throw her. He can spike her like a football and KO her for the game. 11 or higher. 8. Oh, well, it's a crit too. So 12, he didn't need it. He spikes her like a football. She is KO'd completely from the game. She has no more endurance left. She is out. And that means Dead Man no longer possesses her. Dead Man pops out 4 inches away. So what would be most advantageous for the heroes would be, so he's 10, Warsuit Lex, well, I couldn't get 4 inches away and put him in this quadrant anyway, so it's a question of this quadrant or this quadrant. Right now, there's no villains in this quadrant, so I might as well put him here. I think that secures this quadrant for the heroes. So, Lobo is now no longer possessed. That is Justice League turn. We're going to go back over to the villains. Okay, so in order for this to work, for this quadrant to be held by the Justice League Dark, Jason Todd needs to activate and needs to kill this Lexcorp trooper. So there's 16 points of heroes. There's 17 points of villains in this quadrant. So in order for this quadrant to be claimed, this trooper has to die. I don't know if that's possible with Jason Todd. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Okay, so here's what we got to do. We're going to have to roll some dice. So that Lexcorp trooper is on no health remaining. Jason Todd, this actually could work. Jason Todd has a once per game ability called Takedown. It costs 5. That's going to take his entire stack. It does 6 damage and it's in fisticuff range. So he's in perfect spot to do this. So let's do the math. If I do Takedown, it's going to cost 5. His attack is 8. Lexcorp Trooper physical defense is 16. He cannot boost that. He cannot do a defensive improvement. So defensive 16, I have an 8. That means I need a 9. A 9 on 2d8. I have just enough power to overload that. So I'm going to spend my entire stack, 6 points, to overload that. That gives me 3 dice. I need a 9 or higher on 3d8 to do the takedown attack, which does 6 damage, which will kill him. So, okay, here we go. 9 or higher. Got it. Easily. So make sure you can see all those dice. Okay, so Jason Todd does a takedown on the Lexcorp Trooper. He uses his once per game attack. Wow, that was pretty clutch. All right, so Jason Todd takes out this Lexcorp Trooper. He is completely KO'd from the game. He is no longer in the game. This quadrant now is safely within Justice League Dark's hands. There is one more activation over here with Swamp Thing, and that is the end of turn 5, coming right up. All right, last activation of turn 5, Swamp Thing activates. he is going to do a grab and throw. Well, he's going to have to move because he's not in base-to-base contacts with Bane. Basically, the idea is throw Bane farther away from the zone, so it takes him more time to get back and contest a zone. Swamp Thing is 16 points, Bane is only 10 points. If I throw him deeper into the zone, Bane will have to run back out and to do some work. So first and foremost, I need to spend 1 to walk him into base-to-base contact. So that's 1. So he starts at 10, he's down to 9. He's going to do an overloaded grab and throw because I really cannot miss this. So Bane is defense. He is knocked down, so he's -2 on his physical defense, so that is, his physical defense is 12. Swamp Thing's attack is 6, so that means I need a 7 or higher on 3d8. That's going to cost me 4 power, taking me down to 5 power left on Swamp Thing. So I need, again, physical defense of 12, attack of 6. That means I need a 7 or higher on 3d8 to grab and throw him. Faux show. All right. So you can see those dice. I realize I haven't necessarily been doing a fantastic job of getting all the dice rolls on the camera. Okay, so he got that in spades, so he is strength 5. He can throw Bane 10 inches, which is he's gonna pick him up and throw him kind of in this alleyway here. Inches, he's gonna drop right there. And so Swamp Thing is strength 5, so that does 4 damage to Bane. Bane is resistance 1, so that's 3 damage. You'd be amazed, but Bane is still in the gray. This guy can take a licking and keep on ticking. So that is Swamp Thing's attack. He's on 5 power. I don't think he's got anything else in range that makes sense, and he wants to stay in that zone. So I'm just going to park him right there, and we're going to call that turn. Let's come back and do a recap of where we're at with the zones and re-rack for next turn. All right, let's do a turn recap. We're at the bottom of 5. Swamp Thing controls this quadrant. He's 16, he's 10. Swamp Thing, that's for Justice League Dark. Orchid is 8. No one else is in this quadrant with her. So that's a Justice League quadrant. So that's 2 for Justice League. This quadrant, I've got Lobo for 13, Jason Todd for 6, and Deadman for 10. So that's 16 versus 13. Justice League owns this quadrant. Warsuit Lex is over there. He's 13. He's all by himself. So that is a villain quadrant. So 3 quadrants to 1. So that puts the heroes at 3 points plus 1 because they've got the most quadrants this turn. So that gives them 4 more points. That puts them at 15 total plus 1 for the villains. That is 9 total. So it's 15 to 9. Justice League pulling out a little bit again. Villains had a great turn 4. They kind of sucked wind a little bit on turn 5. So it's 15 to 9. We're going to re-rack and come back for turn 6, the final turn. But before we do that, we have some KO checks we need to do. So Black Orchid is in the pail. She is stamina 8. She needs 8 or lower to stay lucid. She's okay. All right. Warsuit Lex is still in the pail. He needs an 8 or lower. Oh my goodness. Just barely. Okay, so Warsuit Lex is up, Orchid is up. We will come back with re-racked of power. We're going into the final turn. Score is 15 to 9, turn 6. Top of turn 6. The board state is as follows. I've re-racked everyone's power. Black Orchid is the only one who had a little bit of regenerate. So she regenerated 1. She's still in the pail. So she's there. She's up and healthy. Swamp Thing, Bane, Lex Luthor in Power Suit, and these folks over here. So it is time to go into the dice bag. Last turn. Who's going to get turn priority? I think at this point there's only enough models that mostly we're probably done with the combat. They're just going to try to see if they can go onto a board panel and claim it and see who comes out on top. So villains or heroes, who goes first? Turn 6. Let's pick the last dice. get a good one. Oh, there they are. Villains. Okay, we're going to go into villains, top of turn 6. Alright, so that turn priority pick is actually pretty fortuitous for the villains because Bane is right there. If Swamp Thing was able to go first, he could have gone back here and thrown him even deeper into the table, making it so that Bane couldn't get out of this quadrant and he would dominate this quadrant. Bane being able to get up first, he is not knocked out, he's just knocked down. He can stand up and move over here and reinforce Lex Luthor, who's on this quarter, so that's what he's going to do. So he is on 8 power, he's going to take 1 power and stand. Right there. And then he's going to spend another 2 power to run to the same table quarter that Lex Luthor is, which I've pre-measured. And that puts him right about there. So that is Bane's turn. He's completely on this table quarter. He's going to support Lex Luthor on that table quarter and just camp out and hope for the best. All right, moving on to the Justice League, turn 6. Looking at the board state, there is no position where I can move any of the models to where the villains will gain any additional territory, so I think we're going to wrap it here. So basically, if Swamp Thing stays there, Orchid stays there, even if Deadman possesses any of these people and moves them towards anything, this square is going to continue to be heroes. If Orchid stays there, and there's really nobody in range to do anything to remove her, she'll stay there. And then Bane and Lex Luthor being there, there's really no amount of moves or throws that I can do. No one's in enough range to move anybody out of their quadrant to make any difference in terms of who controls which quadrant. So that means heroes control this quadrant, this one, and then villains earn that one. So the current score is 15-9. The heroes will gain 1, 2, 3 points plus another point for having most quadrants, so that gives them a score of 19. Villains controlling that quadrant will get an extra 1, so that will make the final score 19-10 in favor of the heroes. And so that's a wrap. We will do all the post-game analysis coming right up.
And that's a wrap. That is the 4th battle report for the DC Multiverse Miniatures game, and I love this game so much. My favorite game system, and this was a really fun game to play. Couple of thoughts here. I think the Justice League Dark is very strong, and we'll go into this more in detail. But let me just kind of rattle off the first few thoughts that are coming to my head. Justice League Dark is very, very strong. Deadman might be broken good. Orchid is good. Swamp Thing, tanky as all get out. The heroes team did really, really well, and I think that shows in the battle report. I mean, I think the game probably felt a little bit more one-sided than the score kind of let on, but I think the Justice League Dark did very, very good. I wonder what it would be like with both Constantine and Zatanna in there. I think that would be pretty powerful. I think for the villains, I think Warsuit Lex was pretty good. I think the troopers, the Lexcorp troopers, I think they're cheap as chips, but they're not super effective in combat. So I think I probably played them a little too aggressively, probably played them a little bit wrong. And hey, learning curve for me, that's okay. But I think I probably would have tried to kind of, since they were fast or faster than most of the foot slogging hero types, they probably could have run around and tried to stay within a quadrant and not gotten engaged as much and just tried to evade and kind of hold on to table quadrants. But they're only 4 points, so one good-sized hero, it would take 4 of them to equal a Swamp Thing. So I don't know. I don't know if that would have been an effective tactic here, but I tried to use them as distract and kind of fluid points where I needed them, but they didn't particularly, I don't know that they were particularly effective in this particular game, and maybe I just didn't play them particularly well. But anyways, regardless, I was pretty happy with Bane. I thought he would be a fairly slow character, but the number of hit boxes on that guy, or the endurance boxes on that guy, plus, he can put out some damage. I was actually pretty impressed with him. I liked him a lot. Um, Other models I was impressed with. Etrigan was really, really solid. I liked him. Not sure I played him to the fullest effect, and if you've got thoughts or comments or feedback on maybe better ways to play him, I'll totally take that feedback. But he really smoked one of those Lexcorp troopers pretty early on. The Eldritch Blasts, I think, were extremely effective. Once he gets into the demon mode, he can actually really hold his own. He's pretty powerful. The one thing that's weird with him is that the gray endurance section is pretty short, but the blue or the pale is pretty long, and so he can't regenerate past the pale. So that kind of hamstrings him in terms of the number of hits he can take. But regeneration on him is good. He has 14 points, so he's really solid. I don't know that he's top tier, but he was really, really good, and I can't wait to try him again. I think he's a solid piece. I'd take him over and over again in a heartbeat. For the Justice League Dark, I think Deadman is too. I'm just gonna be honest. He's too good for his points. His ability to take over a player or take over a model for a turn and use all but their red powers is ridiculously powerful. His invisibility and kind of ethereal nature, it's hard to target him. It's hard to actually do damage to him. I think the best way to get, kind of trying to play this game, like, okay, well, how do you actually counter Deadman? I think really the only way you counter Deadman is to run away from him, if I'm going to be honest. So I think Deadman's probably good if you're in a hyper-competitive game, but I think if you're playing a friendly game, you might want to think about whether or not Deadman is going to be a fun play experience for your opponent. But he was good. Orchid, I think, was very, very solid. Another really solid piece. I'm always a big fan of Green Arrow. I love that he can kind of, if he stands still, he can just do, rapid shot with his arrow, with his bow and arrow, and just pincushion somebody to death. And I've seen that be very effective in the past, and he was very effective with that again in this battle report today. And Red Hood is always a favorite. He's cheap, he's nimble, he can put out some damage. He does, like, when he doesn't do his takedown, he kind of does minimal damage if you can hit. But I think he is definitely a good piece when you've only got 6 points left in your list and you want a solid piece to add to the roster. Back to the Lexcorp villains again. I thought Bane was better than I expected him to be. Lobo, I thought was good. He didn't seem 13. He seemed. To me, he felt like he was a little more points than he should be for what I saw out of him. But he's very tanky. He took a lot of hits. He put out a lot of damage. So for 13 points, I guess he sort of felt on par with Etrigan in terms of damage output. Maybe not necessarily. He felt maybe more survivable than Etrigan, but I don't know. He's got a ridiculous number of hit boxes and endurance as well, so it was good. Killer Frost, I thought she had an interesting toolbox, and she had some interesting utility type actions with the freezing ground and taking speed away from people, within not even having to roll to hit. I thought that was pretty powerful, but she's a little squishy, and for a 7-point character, I don't know that you really want her up front and close to be able to do those sorts of things. So I think you've got to play her a little bit wisely. But I thought she was pretty good for 7 points, so I was pretty happy. But overall, I enjoyed the new. Most of these models are new to me playing, so I enjoyed playing them. The mission, I thought it was a really fun mission. It encourages movement. It doesn't necessarily encourage castling up, although Swamp Thing being 16 points, if you've got a really tanky high point model, it's going to encourage castling up in a quadrant. So I think that behavior showed in the gameplay, and so that's not always you kind of want to get dynamic gameplay with your missions. So I think this mission maybe encouraged a little bit of castling with high power characters, but the smaller or the lower power characters, or the lower level characters I should say, it really encouraged movement. So I was very happy with this mission. It's the first time I played this mission, and I thought it was a lot of fun. But hey, overall, I thought this was a fantastic game. I don't know, with Deadman and the Justice League Dark with some of the magic powers, I think they were probably more than a match for the Lex Luthor and the Lexcorp Trooper. So this might not have been a really even or balanced match, but I had fun anyways, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. So, hey, thanks for watching. If you like to see these videos, or if you like to see battle reports like this, or if you want to see a specific DC universe or multiverse matchup, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.